Remember Mama. Maggie, where's my tea? Maggie set down the dishcloth and moved to answer her mother's call. The rest of the china, like so many other tasks half completed, would have to wait. You had your tea already, Mama, remember? I brought you a cup of tea, and you finished it and said you didn't want any more. But the old woman shook her head obstinately. No, I didn't. You never brought it. I've been waiting for hours, and the now familiar note of self-pity crept into her voice. And you never brought it to me. Maggie smothered a sigh. There was no point in arguing with her mother. She could show her the cup she drank from, and her mother still wouldn't remember. Couldn't, Maggie corrected herself. Her mother couldn't remember. She had to keep reminding herself of that fact, or the frustration would soon grow too strong to handle. Where is, her mother struggled for a name and then gave up. Where did he go? Paul, the name emphasized just a bit, had to go away on a business trip to California. I told you all about it, Mama, remember? Paul, who had shown infinite patience and tenderness with his mother-in-law. He pretended everything was normal and persisted in carrying on one-sided conversations with her about the weather, current events, upcoming plans for the weekend. But lately, her mother couldn't even remember his name. Oh, yes, now I remember. But her mother's voice held no conviction. It just slipped my mind for a moment. And she looked at her daughter, obviously hoping that the excuse would be accepted. Maggie nodded her head, joining her mother in the delusion. Mama's poor memory, how often she and her father had teased her mother about her inability to recall names, dates, places. It had been humorous once, but no longer. Now it was a tragic reality. After Maggie's father had died, her mother had become distracted and forgetful, and initially Maggie put much of the blame on grief. But even sorrow, she was finally forced to admit, couldn't wreak such havoc on a person's mental abilities. Even grief couldn't keep you from recalling where you lived, where you were going, whether or not you'd eaten, or slept, or changed your clothes. Only sickness could do that. Remembering this, Maggie asked with more patience, "Do you want another cup of tea now, Mama?" As she straightened the soft throw across her mother's narrow, blue-veined feet. Maggie recalled watching her mother knit the soft mix of blue and cream and orchid yarns during the endless nights in the hospital, the sound of the long needles a counterpoint to the noise of the respirator that filled her father's lungs with air. Someday, she would think, she would have to ask her mother to show her how to knit like that. But there was never a free moment to learn. And now, her mother couldn't even tie her shoes.